Also, government announces upward adjustment in the daily feeding allowance for inmates, raising it from 1 cedi 80 pesos to 5 cedis per prisoner. Also, aggrieved staff of the Ghana Railway Workers Company threaten mayhem if their grievances are not addressed. Welcome to the program. We're live also on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana. Let's get interactive there. But let's start off with some education stories, as the Education Minister Haruna Idrisu has urged a coalition of unpaid teachers who have been protesting for 13 months unpaid salaries to remain patient and await clearance from the Ministry of Finance. He acknowledged the legitimacy of their demands and assured them that he will work to ensure that their salaries are paid. Nura Mohammed has more here.
13 months of unpaid salaries. This is not patriotism. This is simply injustice. These were some of the phrases that could be seen on placards held by some members of the coalition of newly posted teachers who are embarking on a demonstration and convened earlier this morning at Obra Spot and marched all the way to the Jubilee House to present a petition. Teachers recruited from colleges of education and universities have been waiting for their salaries for over a year, despite fulfilling all requirements. After the previous clearance elapsed on December 31st, 2024, they awaited new directives but received none. The teachers have submitted multiple petitions to the Ministries of Education and Finance as well as the Ghana Education Service, but claim their pleas have fallen on deaf ears.
Government appointees have been paid every month. We need our salaries.
1 cedi, sir, we've not gotten 1 cedi. 13 good months. 13 good months. And whenever you come, you tell us you are in our shoes. You can never be in my shoe. You don't know what I'm going through. I'm teaching enough, and I'm still here fighting for my money. Who does that?
The executives of the coalition presented their petition to the Jubilee House, demanding the president's urgent action.
For 9 to 13 months, we've been in the classrooms, we've been at the war front working. You all know how the recruitment process is. When you get the appointment, no one gives you a dime. You would have to go for loans and all that. And for 13 months, without salaries, it's not been easy.
We presented a petition expecting that it will get to His Excellency for action to be taken. For a good 2 weeks, we have not heard anything.
Once you have brought this here, I will definitely take it in there. No, it will not be under my desk. It will be looked at as to why the delay has occurred. I have no idea. Whether it's October or November, this will be treated urgently because we don't want to see our teachers on the street, because we need you in the classroom to teach our kids.
Proceeding to the Finance Ministry and the Education Ministry, they made a final stop to the Independence Square, where the Education Minister, Haruna Idrisu, engaged them.
The matter which requires urgent solution is 6,700, whose process started. Subsequent to Ministry of Finance issued clearance for your recruitment to the Ministry of Education. That process only lapsed in December 2024. You will receive deservingly even for the period that you are so complaining about. You'll be compensated for it.
Today and Friday school activities at Chuanukopa Basic School, located on one of the Ada East Islands, have been restored after teachers of the school were provided with an official boat, outboard motors and life jackets. Joseph Armstrong Gold visited the island community months after our initial report.
On July 5, 2024, TV3 reported on the plight of island schools in the Ada East district, where Chuanukopa DA Basic School kids could not hold classes on Tuesdays and Fridays. The challenge stemmed from the lack of boats and outboard motors to transport teachers from the mainland to the island, especially on market days. Pupils told TV3 the situation was affecting their academic work, but a follow-up visit to the school on Tuesday, September 30, revealed a turnaround. Teachers now have access to an official outboard boat and life jackets, ensuring consistent teaching days.
We can today say we have our own boat, our new machine, that's the Abort motor, brand new. What you people came to do about 2 years ago.
A year ago.
I think a year or 2 years ago. It yielded a positive result.
The last time you came, they told me my life jacket wasn't a proper one, but today I have a good life jacket.
We are currently on our way to Tuanukope, an island school where until last year they did not have a boat. And this time around, we are fortunate. They've been given a boat and an outboard motor, making commuting to school very easy for them.
The headmaster of the Tuanukope Basic School, Abayate, expressed gratitude to TV3 and stakeholders for the intervention.
It's not like we choose that we won't go to school Fridays and Tuesdays. But today, as you can see, if not because we have our own boat and we have to fall on the commercial boat, there is no way we can make it.
He added that the improvement has reflected in academics, with the school placing third in the Adan East district in the latest BEC results.
Academic-wise, this very year, Tuanukope Basic School came third in the whole district when it comes to result-wise.
During TV3's visit, pupils were already in class. Some of them confirmed that their teachers' presence has since been regular.
Now you people has given both to our teachers. Now they are coming school Tuesday and Friday. Now it's good.
The Human Resource Manager of the Adan East Education Directorate, Neokai, also commended its support.
Through your reportage, we got help. A mining firm came in and they donated a boat with outboard motor to the school. The canoe has been in existence and is in use. So if you go to the school Monday to Friday, you see teachers in the school.
He, however, appealed for assistance to provide teachers with accommodation, saying government alone cannot shoulder the burden. Currently, there are 5 schools serving 13 island communities in Adan East with a students' population of more than 500. With transport challenges addressed, island communities like Tuanukope are hopeful the next step will be permanent housing for teachers to sustain quality education delivery.
Indeed, it appears there has been some sort of improvement here at Tuanukope DA Basic School, but many more things need to be added to make teaching environment here very conducive. Joseph Armstrong, Go TV3, Tuanukope.
Well, it's a new academic year for senior high school students, and parents are determined to get the awards the best possible start in school. Judith Brown visited the Makola market where shopping has already begun.
The chaos is palpable here at Makola Market, faces etched with worry and determination as parents scramble to prepare the awards for senior high school. I visited one of the biggest stationery shops, choked with parents and wards navigating through the crowd. Some parents seem overwhelmed by the length of the prospectus.
Definitely, it's very tough for us. Definitely tough for me because this is the first time for me. And though I also went there before, but those days it was not like this. I don't think my parents suffered like this, how I'm suffering today. So definitely, I may say it's very tough for me these days. Yeah, going around, buy this one, buy that one, buy this one, buy that one. A tall list as you can see. Yeah, so it's very difficult for us these days. I know people are complaining. I saw it first, I complained a lot. I called even the headmistress, they say, yeah, it's compulsory to bring all those things.
Others, however, appear unfazed, calmly browsing through shops, confident in their ability to manage.
Oh, normal and not so too much.
It's normal. It's not too much. For my first child, I bought even more things. They've removed a lot from the list, including brooms and buckets. So it's normal.
This
is my first experience. This is the first time my child is going to school. Per the prospectus I'm having, I think it's okay. Per the list and the course, I believe that it also depends on the course that the individual is doing. But with STEM, that's a Washington STEM Academy, their prospectus, everything is cool.
The market is bustling, with vendors doing their best to meet the demand, while parents are looking for the best deals on school essentials.
Sales are okay, but not as good as previous years. People are still coming, so it's a bit slow.
As the new academic year approaches, the question on everyone's mind is, will they get everything they need? Well, the scramble for SHS essentials is on, and parents are clearly leaving no stone unturned. Judith Brown, TV3 News, Accra.
And now the Minister for Education, Haruna Idrisu, has reinforced assurances that government has issued warrants for the allocation of 610 million cedis to pay the book and research allowance for tertiary tutors. UTAG had served notice to embark on a strike following government's failure to pay. But addressing the 22nd UTAG Biennial Congress, the sector minister urged delegates to rescind their decision.
This year's Congress took stock of the previous administration while discussing effective ways to incorporate artificial intelligence in tertiary education for improved teaching and learning outcomes. Former National President of UTAG, Professor Mamudu Akudugu, corroborated further.
UTAG, we are futuristic. We are futuristic, and the reason is simple. We have to anticipate what the labor market will need in 5 years, so that we start preparing the human resource today.
The exploration of sustainable funding opportunities for universities in Ghana was also topical, with speakers urging UTAG to lead the charge.
The rising enrollment, growing demand for research excellence, and the urgent need for world-class infrastructure. These traditional funding sources have become increasingly insufficient and vulnerable to economic shocks.
Minister for Education, Haruna Idrisu, urged UTAG members to rescind their decision to embark on industrial action following the non-payment of their book and research allowances. He said a warrant of 610 million cedis is being allocated to settle their arrears.
From 408 million last year, this year government is committing 610 million to honor your book and research allowance. And that is in process. What is important is we are honoring a legitimate condition of service of university teachers, which is the payment of book and research allowance. It will hit your account shortly.
According to him, 93,000 vacancies exist across the various universities, the Ghana Education Service and other learning institutions, with government working to fill them. The Congress brought to an end the tenure of the UTAG National President, Professor Mamudu Akudugu, and ushered in Professor Vera Ogefiado as the new president after gaining the delegates' endorsement. Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Peduase.
Away from that, government has announced an upward adjustment in the daily feeding allowance for inmates, raising it from 1 cedi 80 pesos to 5 cedis per prisoner. The Interior Ministry explains the increment is aimed at improving nutrition and easing pressure on the Ghana Prison Service, which has long struggled with inadequate funding for meals.
The 1 cedi 80 pesos daily feeding allowance for inmates, unchanged since 2010, has long been criticized as woefully inadequate for providing 3 meals a day to prisoners. After years of public outcry and internal complaints, a 10 million cedi budgetary allocation is now expected to be released to cover the last quarter of the year. This follows presidential approval for an increase in the daily allowance from 1 cedi 80 pesos to 5 cedis, a move widely seen as long overdue.
We proposed 10 Ghana cedis and were granted 5. And after the consultations, President actually instructed that the amount should be increased to 5 cedis. And that's an amount of 10 million, which was supposed to cover the last quarter of the year, was to be released. But it is yet to be released, even though the approval has been.
We know that the 5 cedi is not adequate, but looking at where we are taking it from, 1 cedi 80% to 5 cedi would be a good start. hoping that we'll build on it.
Interior Minister Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak, responding to revelations that over 600 firearms are being unlawfully held by civilians with expired licenses, said an ongoing detailed overhaul of Ghana's firearms licensing system is the best solution.
One of the challenges that we have is that everything is manual. If it is not computerized, it becomes a daunting task. So these 606 that they are talking about, they are scattered across the country. We are currently working on digitalizing, like I mentioned earlier, almost every services in the ministry. In fact, we are almost at the tail end of it. We are very hopeful by November, December, it should come on board.
While addressing multiple infractions involving agencies under his ministry during his appearance before the Public Accounts Committee, the minister also pushed for legal reforms. He called for laws that will hold past public officials accountable for financial irregularities uncovered during audits.
We may have to amend our laws to hold the specific persons who are there to come and answer. Why am I saying this? This is an infraction 2020-2024. Someone was sitting there and acted irresponsibly. He came to office in February, and with 3 months he was able to retrieve that money. Someone was there, he was giving the management notice showing this infraction. He sat throughout that period. He never retrieved a dime. Yet now 5 of the companies are what do you call it, have gone defunct. And the amount of money in their name, madam, it is better we tell the committee the truth. Those companies, that amount of money in their name cannot be retrieved because they are no longer in existence.
Meanwhile, the committee has rescheduled its engagement with the Attorney General and the Food and Agriculture Ministries after both sector ministers and their deputies failed to appear before the committee. And now, some aggrieved staff of the Ghana Railway Workers Company have threatened mayhem if their grievances are not addressed after the second round of engagement with the National Labour Commission. Now, the railway workers suspended their planned strike over 12-month salary arrears after the Labour Commission directed them to return to the negotiation table with the appropriate authorities.
Some of the embattled workers who had massed up at the premises of the National Labour Commission did not fail to register their displeasure at the leadership over their unpaid salary arrears. After several hours of engagement between the Ghana Railway Development Authority, Ghana Railway Workers Company, and the Transport Ministry, a verdict of another meeting for further negotiation was concluded.
We have given up today up to 8. Today up to 8, that is next week, Wednesday, for all the parties, all the bodies to sit down and have a conclusion on the payment plan, how they are going to pay the 12-month salary. And we will report back on the 9th, that's Thursday, on the 9th, so that we will come up with a payment plan. Then we know that, ending of October, they are paying us, or this and that. So it's up to the ministry, they've urged the ministry to engage the union with the GRC and the GRDA, so that we have a conclusion on the payment plan.
Managing Director of the Railway Company, Dr. Michael Ej Anyete, expressed confidence that the workers will not be relegated and lose their jobs.
The minister has assured us that everything is under control, and we are very happy. We are of the view that at least something must be done for GRCL workers to also be part of the running of the Tama in Pakadan. You understand? Do you know who are going to drive the trains? Railway workers. Railway workers are going to drive the trains. As it stands, GRDA has also requested through the minister that we give them some workers who will be maintaining the railway tracks, So we are still in the, something is being done. It's not.
But some staff who remain unconvinced indicated that they will create confusion if there's no resolution at the next agenda date.
If by next week we have still not been paid, we will wreak havoc in the offices of railway company. We cannot be taken for granted. Their children live large and school in other countries while we suffer without pay.
Members of the Railway Workers Union said the non-payment of wages since October 2024 has left employees and their families in severe distress, citing financial hardship, health complications, broken homes, and disruption of children's education. Lord Edwasar, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, that's it for the news on Newday, but there's always more news on our website, 3news.com. I am Noble Crosbyan, and Newday continues after this. Good morning.
is the day that the Lord has made, and we'll rejoice and be glad in it. We're starting on a worship note this morning because our hearts are full of joy. It's a day to celebrate. TV3 is 28 years old. It's a day of joy. It's a day of celebration. Yeah. We've come so far, haven't we? 28. Akable, how old were you 28 years ago?
No, I was more than 2 actually.
He was 1.
Sorry to disappoint you. I was actually more than 2. Yes, but I mean on a personal level as well. Today is exactly 2 years since I came here. Yes, I came here exactly 2 years ago. So I've done 2 out of the 28 years.
Wow.
But I mean the TV3 story is a very amazing story.
Yes.
I remember TV3 from Rosalinda days.
Acapulco Bay.
And back then, I mean, there was no point in my life where I could think I would be working here. And 20-something years down the line, I'm here.
Look at us.
Working at TV3. It's an amazing place to work, and I enjoy working here.
Yes. Yeah. How old were you 28 years ago?
I can since I was 1, so I'll take
You were 1.
But honestly, it's amazing as well. I also didn't think that I was going to be here. I only remember that I would turn on my TV at 7 o'clock and listen to the news. Madam Beatrice, Group CEO, as well as Emma Morrison at the time. Later, I was in Anabes, and then the rest. So
Roland Walker.
Yes, Roland Walker, of course, Israel Laye,
Gideon Ayikwe.
Yes. So really amazing. Yes. So that's what I remember. But it's been amazing as well. Akable is older. Lawyers will say.
Don't worry, I'm older here.
Yes, lawyers will say senior at the bar. Yes, so. He is 2 years exactly this month. I'll be 2 years in December. But the interesting thing is yesterday was also 1 year of agenda that we... So it
was a nice way to count it with a powerful panel. He had Chachikata and Ahikwe Otu and Francis Poku. Amazing. I watched it. I love it. Those who've not seen this, you're going to check it out.
So all of us are kind of celebrating our own anniversary.
There are many things to celebrate. There are many things to celebrate. And every day, actually, we say this all the time. Every day we should celebrate because every day the blessings of the Lord is abundant on us. And for us here at TV3, celebrating 28 years is an amazing milestone. It's big. Today will be the start of our celebrations, but we have a lot of wonderful things planned for our viewers because we acknowledge that this journey would not have been possible without you. So thank you for 28 years of loyalty, keeping us on our toes, and always choosing us because we are first in news and best in entertainment. Always have been and will continue to be with, of course, your support and your viewership. So soon on the show today, we'll roll out our plan for our 28th anniversary for you, nearing the end of the show today. But you're welcome to TV3 Newday today. And we have a packed show today. What are we doing on big issues?
On big issue, we'll have a conversation which we started off yesterday talking about the new patriotic party, the entire reorganization that the party is trying to do, the challenges it is presenting, and how the party can get out of what many say is a situation of disarray. So we'll have a conversation with that. The regular Wednesday team, Dr. Zato and Solomon Owusu, will be joined by Hamza Suhini. Those who know Hamza as well, you know that it will be a lot of fireworks, but hopefully it will not be like agenda yesterday.
I can't wait for the conversation. Yes, it's such a pleasure listening to the team on Wednesday. Of course, all the team, for each day, fantastic. But Wednesday, because of Solomon and Zato and the other members, it's just friends.
Okay, so that's what we have for big issues this morning. And of course, we're interactive, so you can always send in your messages under the Facebook live stream, and Akable will read them. Akable will sift through them and read them. Also, we're cashing out this morning, aren't we?
Of course. Remember that it is always *439#, and then Okay, we'll talk about that one later. But *439# and you follow the prompt and pick your favorite platform and enter. And you always do know that your favorite right here is on TV3, which is number 2. So again, we're giving out 1,000 CDs to some 10 people, I believe. We gave some money on Monday. Today is the middle of the week. You don't want to miss this opportunity. And remember that the more the stakes, the higher your chances of getting at least a bit of that 1,000 CDs.
How many times should they play?
Oh, as many times as possible.
Oh, the last time Roland said 30, yeah?
30 times.
30, yes.
Because if you are not playing more than 30 times, then you are helping the other people to win.
Yeah.
Roland explained probabilities in a very interesting way. He said, if you do it, if you do it, if you do it, when we are picking, it's like we'll pick your number.
Yes. Okay, so please play and then and win big. Well, this morning on the show, we received some news from the Ghana about the Ghana Prison Service. The Prison Service has received approval, presidential approval, for the feeding allowance to be increased from 1 cedi 80 pesos to 5 Ghana cedis. From 1 cedi 80 pesos to 5 Ghana cedis. Now, this 5 cedis will be the cost of their meals per day. So morning, breakfast, afternoon lunch, and then supper. 5 cedis. Before now, it was 1 cedi 80 pesos. And this is the first time we've heard of an upward adjustment since 2010. That's about 15 years ago. Yes, this is the first time we've heard of an upward adjustment since 2010. Now, while this news has been received with happiness on one part, some advocates have also questioned what 5 Ghana cedis can do, feeding adults 3 times a day, and would like to find out what your thoughts are on this. The upward adjustment from 1 Ghana cedi, 80 pesos, to 5 cedis feeding prisoners in our prisons. Now, while this is a good or upward adjustment compared to what it was before, does this really solve the problem of poor nutrition and poor health in our prisons, seeing as when prisoners are unwell, the burden is still on the state to pay for their health care and ensure that they get the care they need so they can return to the prisons or get the care at the prisons? Are we giving them enough nutrition to ensure that they are in a good state of health? Aside their feeding and health, what are the other things or reforms which the prisons should see to ensure that the reason for imprisonment, which is rehabilitation, is actually met, so that when prisoners come out, they don't become a burden, I beg your pardon, to their communities? Let's know what your thoughts are. You can reach us. Our phone lines will be displayed in a moment on the screen. Well, it's on the screen now. You can call us now and let us know what your thoughts are on this. It's now time for This Morning. And it's time for This Morning. You can call us now. Let us know what your thoughts are. First, on the upward adjustment from 1 cedi 80 pesos to 5 cedis for prisoners feeding allowance. While it's an upward adjustment, we listened to the Executive Director of Crime Check yesterday on Ghana Tonight, and he said that it's a paradox for him because, yes, it's an increase, but what can 5 cedis do in terms of feeding adults 3 times a day? And he felt that this adjustment should have been done in the context of our current economic circumstances. How much can 5 cedis buy on the market? Yeah. And can it really feed an adult 3 times a day? Even once, really, in terms of their nutrition. I mean, how much is egg? One egg. One egg is what, 1 cedi?
No.
How much is an egg?
Is 2 cedis 50 pesos.
One egg is 2 cedis 50
Some
pesos.
even sell it for 3 cedis.
3 cedis.
Yes,
I'm far behind. I said 1 cedi.
You haven't had Kushani Meko in a while.
I haven't had. I actually have been on a vegetarian diet for a while.
And Kushani Meko actually is 3 cedis 50 pesos.
3 cedis 50 pesos.
Oh, somebody said
someone saying it's 4 cedis.
Yes.
Wow. The last time I bought some 2 weeks ago, it was around 250. But
mine was 350.
The point you make about the price of the feeding, I mean, there are those who justify it and they'll tell you that because you are cooking for a lot of people.
Exactly.
But that notwithstanding, I was telling them yesterday in the office that if we each contribute 5 cedis, even if we are 20, it can't produce any quality meal. At least, yes, you are cooking for a lot of people, but in a minimum, 10 should be fine, 10 to 15 for mass cooking will be better. And a lot of the times, we have conversations around the prison, like those are societal rejects. There are various fascinating stories of how people end up there. There are mistakes that we make on a daily that, for some good reasons, we don't end up there. Those are some of the mistakes that people have made. And there are people who are unjustifiably there. And more importantly, the justice system is supposed to be reformative, not to go there and you'll be subjected to tougher conditions and you come back worse off. So it's an important conversation.
Yes, indeed it is. So let's get a thought of our first caller on the line. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Abdullah, tell us where you're calling from and what's on your mind today.
Yeah, I'm calling from Tamale. I'm Abdullah. I'm calling from Tamale. So the increment is very good for the prisoners in the sense that they have not increased it since 2010. And now that they have increased it to 5 cedi, it was 1 cedi 80%. People were not complaining. And now that it has been increased to 5 cedi, and they are still complaining. So what were they saying? Or is it just a mere the what am I going to say, criticism that they are doing against the government? So what they have done, they should keep it. It is not 5 cedi that they are going to use in cooking for one person. They are going to gather all the money and go and buy the foodstuff. It will help. So that is what I want to say. The government has done well, and we pray that it should continue with their good will. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abdullah. Thank you so much. So
that was a very disturbing image.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like to see videos from the prisons
because
you can't imagine how people live like that in such environment.
You know, the point Akable was making is a very valid point. Yeah. I've had the opportunity to do some work with the Insawam prisons in terms of theater. I don't know if you saw.
I saw that. I saw the pictures and bits of videos.
So I had the opportunity to interact with the inmates for some time over a period while we were rehearsing and so on, and I found out so many things. Like Akable said, there are mistakes that you and I make on a daily basis, which these people have made and have happened, to end up there. And so we shouldn't look at them as rejects or people who don't deserve to live well. At the very least, eat well. Because anything, someone has said this, I heard this once on radio about 10 years ago, anybody can end up in prison. You don't have to be a criminal to end up there. Because as a matter of fact, there are many innocent people in prison.
Yeah.
That's a conversation for another day. But we're talking about the feeding and the possible reforms which are needed in the prison now. We have another caller joining us.
Yes, we do. Adams joins us live. Good morning to you, Adams. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us where you're calling from.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning, Adams. Thank you so much for joining us.
The increment, we will say that it's good. Because when you are looking, you can't be in the prison, you eat like your house. We should know that if you are in prison, you're supposed to be eating small. If you are in your house, you can eat plenty. Because the way you are, that place can't feel like your house. So the increment is good. Because when you are looking for that thing, because these days, 5 cedi to get your food is difficult. But if you are in prison, you can't eat like your house. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
The quantity of the food.
Yeah.
But I don't think the problem is the quantity as is
the quality. Yes.
Because they talk about, I was listening to the executive director of Crime Check, who was talking about cocoa without sugar or any protein, nothing. Nothing. It's just raw white cocoa. And if you've seen the soup, the prison soup, if you've had the opportunity to see it, it separates.
Oh,
right?
wow.
So you see the clear liquid on the top, and then you will see the base that looks a little thick. And I once asked about the meat, like is there meat in the food? And what I was told is that, so you won't see the meat lying in the food, but they cook it with it. I don't know if they grind it or something, because if they put individual pieces of meat in the food, you cannot share or serve. And so the assumption is that the meat is inside. So they either grind it or, I don't know, blend it. So it's supposed to be in there. It's supposed to be in there somewhere, whether or not it is actually in there.
Maybe that's when I'm eating my meat.
It's a question for another. You want to chew the bones
and chew. I want to see it.
You want to chew the bones, but it's not really a question of pampering prisoners. It's just a question of giving them adequate nutrition for adults, so that they don't subsequently get sick. Because when they do get sick, the medical bill is a burden on the state.
That's true.
And we all know that the cost of healthcare is higher than the cost of nutrition. So isn't it better to ensure that they're getting the nutrition that they need,
also,
so they don't get
the
don't
point
get
you made
sick?
earlier about human dignity.
Exactly.
The fact that you're there doesn't mean that you're a social reject, as Blay would put it. So there should be at least that minimum level of dignity for these individuals. Yes.
Exactly.
Jeffrey is joining us. Jeffrey, marching. Hello, Jeffrey. Jeffrey. Jeffrey, good morning. Morning.
Yes.
Please tell us.
Hello.
Yes, hello, Jeffrey. We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Now, interest abana ya de say bonabaso. Kwa ya de pa say ya ye tifie kra no. Edru e bia ye ho twere anka na ye nya bidie bi. Enti say wakodi bone nya se obi an timi edi bone anka na wakowie ho. Na wakodi bone good na ya ba this time around. I would deal with him. What could the bonnet know what you could the prisoner? Nay, a mom, 5 to the day. So, who got a banaya, the answer, that's to say, a banaya, and say a bonabas, many penina, even camera, 4 months in Kobe, Diane, I have 4 months, you may be an Indian. I went the bonnet near to what? By no, I say a bonabas, and what bit me and many are
Hey. Okay, so let me just translate the last bit he said. If it were him, actually the amount 5 cedis should be reduced. But he's basically saying that the government has done well because, so he's assuming that all those there have sinned and therefore they've gone against the law.
Of the glory of
yes,
God.
so they shouldn't be expecting this kind of treatment.
You know, when you were talking about the social reject issue, the point you just made before we picked the call.
Yes.
You know, when someone commits a crime and you create a situation that is very tough, you know, the conditions outside are not as tough as those inside. So you risk the person being able to survive in a tough environment such that when he comes out, he just becomes tougher.
Yeah. I mean, Carlos.
See, the worst form of punishment, I always tell anyone that, sacrifice your phone. Just put your phone away. Just stay in a confined space for a full day. Just have water there, just have food. Just stay in a confined space for a full day without your phone. And just see how that affects you.
Without your phone, without the opportunity to go outside.
Yes, that's why you're confined in a room.
To see vehicles.
Yes, you're
and
just
not
confined.
even to communicate.
Yes.
Some of them
the same
have not
space,
seen
the same
a
environment.
child,
Yes.
You know, not even their child, a child.
Yeah.
In years, because children are not allowed in the prison,
Yes.
so the children can't even
interact.
In some cases, visit. So what Blaise is saying is very true. The first time I entered the small female prisons, I was with a colleague of mine, and he said, and in all honesty, the female side is better than the male side. Okay. In terms of the population, in terms of the sanitation, the space, and so on. And hats off to the prison wardens in some female prisons. They're doing an amazing job at making sure that the women over there have some sense of dignity, and they're taking very good care of them. But the real punishment is the confinement. And I was trying to explain to my colleague that, yes, it doesn't look bad, but the fact that they cannot go outside.
Yeah.
And it's a small space compared to the male side. The women's side is small. It's a small compound. You cannot step outside this compound. And one of them, who's my friend now, who I talk to often, will be there till 2036.
Oh, wow.
So till 2036, like when I talk to her, I ask her, like, what are some of the things that she said? I can't wait to sit in a car, to go outside, to see children playing, to be able to buy bananas by myself.
The things we take
the
for
things
granted.
that we take for granted. So that's like Blaze saying,
yes, it's enough punishment. The punishment is not.
So
it's
denying
not
them
to
nutrition
say that we
is
want
not.
to give you bad food. There are people outside the prison who can't feed themselves anyway, who are
Exactly.
eating very terrible. It only makes sense that if the state has decided that they want to confine you, restrict you, and just ensure that you are kept for a certain period of time, that's the very basic things in life. I mean, once the 80 pesos, you go and buy what? Kenke what? 1 cedi and no fish.
You said Kenke 1 cedi?
No, if you're outside.
No, Kenke is, how much is it? 5 cedis now, right?
He just said Kenke 1 cedi.
I'm sorry.
Blaze, you don't eat Kenke.
Right. I actually eat Kenke every Sunday. I don't even know why I was thinking about
But you don't buy it.
I actually buy it every
It's brought
Sunday.
to you.
Blaze, are you sure?
All right.
Let's speak to Alan. Good morning to you, Alan. Thank you so much for joining us on the This Morning segment on New Day. Tell us what's on your mind and where you're calling us from.
My name is Alan Kwesi.
Yes, sir. Please, we can hear you. Go ahead with what you're thinking. Just share with us.
You know, the government has done well, so we should appreciate that. Because if for the past 15 years, they are giving 1 cedi 80 pesos. And then now it has been increased to 5 cedis. Yeah, it's because what were they doing when it was 1 cedi 80 pesos? You know, so now the government has done well. So we should appreciate and rather ask for more because they are our brothers. You know, not everybody in the prison has done that, one or the other. So at least we should consider that and appreciate the government and thank them and ask for more rather. Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Alan. Quite a balanced view.
Yeah.
What we've been talking about all this while.
But you know,
I was just going to say, don't forget that we are celebrating our 28th anniversary as well. So tell us, what's your feedback? What have you got for us? Let us know what you're thinking about how far we've come.
Yes, and later on the show, we'll have a fuller, bigger conversation on our plans for our 28th anniversary. But I'm still listening to the Executive Director of Crime Check yesterday. He was talking about how the government can augment or supplement this budget in terms of investment in agriculture for the prisons. Yeah. So the prisons have vast lands. They've got lands. I mean, just in Sawam here, you see the lands and you wonder if we cannot cultivate, farms. I know they have some farms and some fish ponds and poultry here and there. But if you look at the lands, you see, again, if the land is good for agriculture, if the government can invest in developing those lands so that they can plant the food crops, so that they can have their fish ponds and poultry farms and so on, and supplements their feeding budgets with the produce from the farm. And I thought that was a very laudable idea.
I mean, it's great. It goes to support the argument of other people that we should have more of non-custodial sentencing. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's so much to be done in our communities. Let's use them. Yeah. And let's not waste the human resource that we have. And so, like you said, they could go into farming, making money. Sometimes you see people mowing grass on the street, and I've heard people say that those are individuals who have less than 1 year to...
mostly
yes,
like
and so
months,
if you dare and you run away, you're going to just double your punishment. But I think that they should not just be within those closed doors. They should feel like, people say that working is not just for money, but the fact that you're able to contribute your quota to society, that pride that comes with being able to contribute to society, they should be given the opportunity to do that.
I think this conversation on non-custodial sentencing, I think it's one that has been had, and probably should be had again. I was listening to the numbers yesterday on Ghana Tonight. Alfred was he mentioned how many prisoners we currently have in our prisons. Yeah. Now we know when the prisons were built and how many people were supposed to be contained within those prisons, and how we are keeping over 20 times the number in those small walls. Yeah. So in addition to the nutrition problem, there's a health problem as well. Having all these people confined in one space, when there's one outbreak of something, you can imagine what's going to happen. We saw some of the videos and pictures on the wall, on the screen right now, and you mentioned basic human dignity. Yeah. The fact that people have been incarcerated does not mean that they should be denied basic human dignity. But
Let's
talk
speak
to
to our next caller. Good morning to you. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Okay, I'm Dominic Akudu, calling from Asante Bakwai. My take on the prison increment is at least it's good. But at first, if it was 180%, I think in Ghana, when you are in prison or you are sentenced for say 2 years, you are doing double sentencing because indirectly the food they are feeding you, you are being sentenced to their sentence because the food you eat, you can easily die. So Ghana, if we are feeding our inmates with sex, it means that the corrective measures we put them through or the training we put them through to come out and be corrected, not go back to the crime they do. The kind of food you feed them, their brain will stop working. They can't learn. They can't think. You start to reverse their neurons development. And I think it's a worry, you see. Let me use this opportunity to greet our president, our able president, John Dramani Mahama, and my MP, Haja Ali Ayama, for Pusia constituency. Let me add that President Mahama, if he doesn't go for third term, I think we'll take him to court because that will amount to deception. You can't, pardon me, and with all due respect, he cannot come and deceive us with good governance, with development, and then leave us halfway. He has to take us through. If we, the youth of this country, the current youth of this country were at the time of Nkrumah, I think we would have taken on those who did the coup. So Mama should get prepared for third time. Otherwise, I'll use my last kobo to take him to court.
Wow.
Also, yes, there's also this then I've been extending my request to my MP. At least I know MPs are to make laws, but at least they have oversight responsibility of lobbying for development for their constituencies and communities in their constituencies aspect. There is this my village in Pusia constituency, the Wari community and others.
Hello, Dominic. Okay, we lost Dominic on the line there from Asante Bakwai. That's the conversation we actually had, was it 3 days or 4 days ago, no, it was actually 3 days ago, I believe, about the fact that people are calling for a third term for the president. And we explained, I remember reading Article 66, really, defining how...
The man has said himself that he's done. Relax for him.
He says he's going to take his last kobo.
Yes, to sue the president.
But
yes.
Let's read some messages coming in this morning on the prison feeding allowance. Nana Gaddafi from Yellow Crabber says, good morning. Ghanaians should applaud the government rather than reading negative meanings into this increment. When was the last time any advocacy group raised any sensitive comments on the initial allowance for the prisoners? May God bless our homeland, Ghana. All right. More messages coming in. Nashoko, good morning. 5 cities is a big increase, but the reality is that what can it do? And I think that's the question that we're all asking. That's from Ben.
Yeah.
That's the question we're all asking. I think generally, and even Crime Check, the civil society group that has been doing so much work in the prison, said that it's a paradox. On the one hand, big jump. It's about, what was the percentage increase? About 170.
180 to now.
The percentage increase.
Is like 3 cedis, 20 pesos.
It's a big jump. So that's great. But then you ask yourself, what can it do?
Yeah.
It will be better, yes. But could it have been more than 5 cedis per person is the question we're asking. And we're happy to listen to
so that's 177%.
177% increase.
7% jump,
That's a big jump.
Yeah.
But what can it do? Can it be better? Is there a plan for a gradual increase as the years go by? What exactly are we doing to make sure that at least our brothers and sisters, parents, friends in the prisons get the very minimum good nutrition so that they can be healthy while in prison? Anyway,
I like the idea of the gradual increment. Perhaps we can talk more about that. Barry Mayal is on the line to speak to us. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us what's on your mind.
Good morning. My take on this is, you know, when you go elsewhere, excuse me to say, that's overseas or in the Western world, when people are being judged, they separate them, criminal cases and that of civil cases. So, you know, you hear somebody killing somebody painfully. Excuse me, just this guy that killed the custom officer, or is it that prison officer? Who doesn't even deserve 50 pesos even a day? When they separate civil cases and then from civil cases from criminal cases, we will know how to cry for them. But we put all of them together. And then you see somebody just even for what do we call it, phone theft. And that person is mixed with a criminal, a high-crime criminal or a rapist or a killer. And then they're all together and they are feeding them the same way. We should have place, we have land, we can build. And let's enact what Chari is doing. We have strong people when they are sentenced like that, when they are at one place, which also can give them sickness, cause blindness among themselves. But when we have a state farm, like Wallace was doing, we can use some of them. Those that are sentenced with hard labor, we'll use them to work on the state farm. We want to develop agriculture. We have the fertile land. Even this galamsey that we are talking about, the government is just talking about stopping galamsey. We don't know what government has done for these galamsey people. They must sit down, dialogue with them. They are human, they are Ghanaians as well. Can you imagine you having a gold in your land and then they have asked you to stop? Yes, I have stopped. Who is now mining? Foreigner. I don't have work. These people, their grandparents, not even their fathers, did what the galamsey before they also came to meet. And that is their livelihood. Why haven't government gone down to these mining areas or galamsey areas, sit them down? We have them. How many are they? And how many are we as Ghanaians? There are about 35 million people now. Only few of Ghanaians that are doing the galamsey. And there are no stakeholders that can take the responsibility, go down there, educate them about the effects of the galamsey on our land or on our water bodies. They do ask us questions that are they doing the galamsey in Accra, or they mention regions or areas that they are not doing galamsey. But they have forgotten to that the water flows and then some of the streams, it's true that the Ghana Water Company will use and then to filter it and then give to people. Doesn't it go down there? That is lack of education. What have they done? What livelihood have they provided to those people in the galamsey area and they are telling them to stop? Look, they will stop. Yes, they will stop. These now we are in two worlds, the social media world and this our world that we are living on. We see these people with this juju tax on them. When the galamsey is collapsed, the strength and then what they have secured, where will they take it to? They'll take it to our various homes. They'll take it to the ministers. They'll take it to the Flagstaff House. We will also have what we call rebels in Ghana here. Don't they have weapons there? They used to use it to protect the galamsey, those who are able to make it. Now that they don't also make it, they don't need their service. Now they don't need my service. Where do I go? I go stand by the roadside. When they are coming, anybody, I don't care if my mother is even around.
Well, thank you very much. Ayurmayal, right? Ayurmayal, thank you very much for joining us. The conversation about the illegal mining issue, huh? Well, we know that the president is going to have that conversation with the CSOs tomorrow.
Yes.
So let's hope that really we are able to get something that will deal with this problem, because now, well, that is his suggestion. We have that bit about declaration of a state of emergency, and then we have declaring those areas as security zones. And so, well, let's see what comes out of this, and hopefully we are really able to deal with this once and for all.
After tomorrow, we'll be able to have a more extensive conversation.
Yeah, let's hope so.
After that meeting.
Yeah.
But we're still in our celebration, a celebratory mood. Beatrice didn't call us. We have an agreement that when we want to wear fancy clothes
they need
to celebrate. You have to
They need to give her the MOU so that she signs.
So
familiar
that,
with it.
you know, we will follow suit. You look very celebratory today.
Thank you, but you look
celebrating
lovely
28 years
yes.
of broadcasting excellence. And for those of you who have been with us since 1997, since TV3 first came on air, we've been delivering the very best in news and in entertainment. And
best in news, best in entertainment, right?
I remember one of my favorite shows in the beginning was the show with Anita Reskin and Chris Atto, Mentor.
Mentor,
when
yeah,
the first,
Mentor,
yeah,
yeah.
when the
Oh
first
my
started.
God,
you know the first Mentor. If
Oh, God.
I don't remember the region songs anymore.
Could I sing it somewhere?
if you play like a little of it,
Yeah.
I will sing along. Like I'm telling
Let
you.
me see the first one. Mentor. The first one.
Mentor makes you a star. Mentor makes you go higher.
Mentor makes you a star.
Yeah.
Mentor makes you feel so good.
Oh, my
You
God.
wanna join?
Oh, yeah. But you see, my favorite bit was the live sessions.
Yeah.
Makokweku Mate
Yes.
was
Oh,
one,
yeah,
he
oh
was
my
so
God,
mean.
one of the meanest judges
He
ever.
was so mean.
And I remember there was this lady, I don't know whether her name, I'm trying to remember whether it was Rose or something.
Rose, yeah.
And I remember she came to sing this song, I'll trade you my soul or something like that.
And what did he say?
I said, it's why you might do it.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
he was so
Mark
mean.
was so mean. And he was always like this.
Yeah.
All the time like this. And I used to feel so sorry for the contestants.
Yeah.
You know, I used to be anxious.
Yeah.
Before Mark spoke, but you know, it was all to you know,
Yeah.
help shape them into what they are now, and
Yeah.
it's also made the show interesting.
Yeah,
I mean,
it did.
honestly, it also made the show interesting.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned Las Badura, right?
Oh, yes,
I
watched
Rosalinda,
that.
Rosalinda,
I watched that.
Acapulco
Yeah.
Bay, yeah. I mean, those were.
I
You know,
watched-
I think
I had the
the amazing thing about TV3, I get why it's first in news, best in entertainment as a tagline, because they have a lot of firsts. You know, things that were, I mean, Mentor at the time, there was nothing like that in the country.
In
It was the
Ghana,
first
yeah.
of its kind. When the telenovelas came down, it's not now that
Yeah.
the telenovelas are in the forms that they are now. At the time, there was none like that.
Yeah.
It also came up with
And we
that.
could sing
We
the
also saw
songs,
what
yeah.
GMB also introduced
Ghana's
on its
was
own.
beautiful.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, the funny thing about the telenovelas those times, they are speaking in Spanish, right? You don't even understand the language, but you learn it and you sing it because, I mean, the moment it starts, you just sing along and
Yeah.
you're
It was
following.
an introduction to foreign content.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
For us in Ghana,
Yes.
and then the children's shows too.
Yeah.
Back in the day, well,
Oh, there was this Explorer cartoon.
Yeah.
Oh goodness, I feel like an old man now. Let's pick a corner.
I thought you said you were, okay, you said you were more than,
please,
you were more than
Akambe was 2 years old.
No,
In fact,
never. I was
when
more than.
TV3 first came on
No, no,
air,
no.
You
I
were
was-
born in 1996.
Not at all. No, no. The 1996 people are in the control room. Oh. The producers, they are in the control room.
Okay,
no,
you-
they are even 2000.
Blay,
They told me. They are
Blay, you
2000.
go and meet them after.
Oh,
You
no,
were
they-
born
they
in
can hear me.
1996.
If they disagree,
Blay,
they should talk to
there's
us.
nothing wrong with being young and fresh.
I'm
I
actually
don't know
young.
why he's
And fresh.
fighting
I'm
for
actually
it.
young.
You were born in 1996.
No, I'm actually young,
You
but
don't-
I reserve the right to correct factually inaccurate
okay,
statements.
so what shall the correction be? When
The
were
correction
you
is
born?
that I was more than 2.
When were you born? Who
Pick the
year?
call and we'll talk about it.
Okay, so is it Vincent on the line? Good morning to you, Vincent. Thank you so much for joining us. Share with us what you're thinking, if you've got any words for us on our anniversary as well.
And okay, with a massive. You might say I'm celebration. I'm moving because anytime they are the home, you share my TV show. No, the real movie, a program. I am managing home pa. Moya de nyame shram bebre work listening now be your ba we ne so bia my who say e mu ye adwuma pa de abo my Ghana nyame nkoso ama mo kwase nti na obom ho ba mai na TV3 ni entren ko wi afa na de bia ra se na yina idekni abo ama o ma na etimi ade akodi also na omo a omo prison omo eno nje se o prison to onye nipa enti ono so deserve say obetime bia bia nipa na also nya promoting papa in case it will be according to Yempen for much which say Nelson Mandela Corporation about the president. Yeah, that means the Obieni wa Chebre Yamit Yafa Congress at the Sun say will be a call for October CDB say Obedi Bona Bravo Pia Nanema Identity Yamate Yempen for say money and come although ebinom bonia bu against us but so omokai ho inko ade esi etimi no na ye bo mo so mutimi de fika ti de se na nyanu na de ebeki ade di o mababo na yin ya ye shirama o mangana ya mi shirama work etimi na mani jimo bebre.
Amen. So. Someone says now some of us deserve an award from TV3. And this is because you've been a very loyal viewer. All right, it's a long message from landlord from Bolga D-Line. We've moved on from our conversation on prisons, but if I don't read your message, I know you're not going to be happy with me. So he says, for now, the government has done well, though the increment is not enough, but it's a sign of something good. Prisoners should also go into farming so they can feed themselves and save some of the money while serving their time. God bless the president and everybody who's doing their best. All right, thank you for that message. Now, TV3 has been the best from day one. TV3 was the first station with clear pictures. Back in the day, you could tell when you switched to TV3 that these pictures are not from here. They're from here. They're from here. They're from here. But of course, yes, TV3 has been clear from day one. And my first time here at TV3 was as a pundit on the Diva show, a sports show. I was a sports pundit, you know. I was a sports pundit talking about, football, especially local football.
But you're actually
in Ghana.
living it.
The Premier League. I know.
You're always jogging, always lifting weight and going to the site.
Going to the stadium to support the small team in Accra.
The Premier League is back. And, I think TV3 is also the first station to really actually partner with the Ghana Premier League.
Yeah.
I stand to be corrected.
In this manner.
To promote the Premier League, to cover the Premier League and bring quality football content, local football content to you wherever you are. So shout out to APL and I was at the stadium to watch the House of Oak match and 11-1.
The small team in Accra.
11-1, please. You support 11 Wonders, eh?
Which one is your team?
You support 11 Wonders.
Oh, I support
your team. Does your team have a jersey? Does your team have a jersey?
Okay.
The great
so Accra has a
you support the plantain. What's your tagline? If you kill plantain, you can eat more plantain.
Oh, no. It is Ukuma
Hey, your tree is bad. Your tree is bad.
I get it. Apim is like
100. If you kill hundreds will more.
How can your team, your logo, your tagline be if you kill plantain? You can eat more plantain.
Apim is just
it's like 100 plantain and
koto. Yeah, 100. But you know it's also name of one of the plantain.
It is alright plantain.
That's Apim.
Yes,
I beg. We have a match against the plantain people on the 12th of October.
Okay.
Accra House of Oak versus Plantain International.
Okay, you wait until Summertex we wear a crown and show
Summertex. Do you have a jersey? Anyway, back to the full life.
Let's go to James. James Joyce is live on the line. Go on into you, James. Tell us where you're calling us from and what's on your mind. Is it 28th anniversary or we've moved on from the prisons, right? But now we just spoke about the Ghana Premier League as well. Where do you stand? Hi, James. Okay, it looks like we've lost
Chief Mante says, TV3 has always played a yeoman's job in this country and is still forever doing that. That's from Chief Mante. So shouts to the team at TV3. TV3 has always employed the very best people. Congratulations to you, and we're happy to be part of this celebration. All right, and then PHK says, TV3 is the best. Congratulations to TV3. God bless TV3. Amen. Amen. And as we promised, later on the show today, we're going to bring you what our plans are to celebrate TV3 and all the good work that we're doing here with your support. We have another caller joining us.
Yes, we have Evans on the line. Good morning to you, Evans. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Tell us what's on your mind.
Good morning. Thank you so much for answering. I've been trying to reach or get to TV3 for over 3 months now.
Oh, wow.
That shows that many people want to contribute to whatever you want to give to the nation.
I mean, very special. Today is our anniversary. You're able to get through. Thank you.
Thank you too so much. My touch on the prisons. So with a bit small touch on the prisons, the increase in their allowance. I think it's a good initiative that has been done, that has been given out, and we commend the government to do more. There is a saying that the dance of a madman would always sound or would always look funny until it's the person is a relative. What do I mean by this? People are there condemning prisoners, but there are so many crimes that have been committed by so many individuals that haven't been notified or have not gotten them there. So they think they are free. But the other question too people are asking is, what are that money being done, even irrespective of the 130%? Then, what were the food that were prepared for these prisoners? Were they good enough for them to eat? Could they survive on that? These are the questions we should be asking ourselves. Irrespective of what the government will do, there are still bad people that are still going to use these monies for themselves, that are not going to give these prisoners that food to eat. So, a good implementation needs to be done. Some checks needs to be done. This is what I would want to say. Thank you, TV3, and then we wish you a happy anniversary. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Evans. Thank you. That's a different perspective he brings to the conversation, the need for accountability, so that we are accounting for every person that is given these inmates for food and for whatever it is that they need there. Yes.
Anyway, we continue to receive your messages on our 28th anniversary. And while we appreciate the kind comments coming in, we also appreciate some suggestions. If you have any, we'll be happy to read them. Let me read this one coming in now. And this one is from Echo. He says, Nah, we love the morning show and big issues, but we want more women sometimes. When you have women on Thursdays, sometimes you bring men, but you don't bring women on the men days. All right. We appreciate that message. Thank you for sending it in. And love going out to everybody who has contributed to helping grow TV3. I wish Roland Walker was here today. I have a special message for him. Roland will be here tomorrow, so you can send the message tomorrow. But I remember watching Roland. Roland was, he was so cute.
He doesn't like it whenever I say that to him. Whenever I say to him that, shall I watched you almost 2 decades plus ago.
He make you feel old.
Yeah, he said, hey, don't say that.
But he was very young at the time.
Yes. In fact, just last week, we had an entire conversation about that. He was barely in his early 20s at the time. He told me, yes.
He was very young at the time. So watching him at the time, you'd think that he was much older, because somehow we assume that people on TV are so old.
Yes.
And then now he's here and he's in his very early 40s.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I was watching you when I was like very little, and he hates to hear it, but that's the truth. Like he was so cute. Like I remember watching Roland on TV. A very cute small newscaster, and so many years down the line, he has not changed much.
I
don't know what his skincare routine is, but it must be a 15-step skincare routine because he has not changed not much.
That's much. What happens when you start early, because when Daddy Lumba, for instance, passed, and I heard all the things he had done, and even his age, I was like, oh wow, he might have started that early. So you kind of grow with a lot of people, and when they are telling your story, like Akable did with Roland, it feels like you're very old, but you are not necessarily that old. But anyway, there's a message from Stephen Penn before we take our break, and he says, good morning, B, Na and Blade. Our lawyers. I hope you are one as well. He says, this morning I heard from the news on radio someone suggesting the prisoners' feeding amount should have been 30 cedis per inmate. And I thought that was not realistic. The daily wage for workers is less than 25 cedis. So why should inmates earn more than the worker whose sweat is used in feeding them? Stephen Penn. Wow. So thank you very much for sending your message from the...
How much is the free SHS allowance per child? I beg your pardon, school feeding.
We'll have to verify.
We would have to check that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But somebody is saying around 3 seasons, but
No,
we'll have
we'll
to
have to check.
verify.
We'll have to check that.
Yes, but don't forget, we're just telling you about the Ghana Premier League, and it's indeed home on TV3. Every week, TV3 gives you 3 live GPL matches, the biggest games, the fiercest rivalries, and the brightest stars, brought straight to your screens with world-class coverage. But that's not all. We set the stage with our GPL preview show, giving you the inside scoop and expert analyses. And when the final whistle blows, we keep you covered with our highlights and review programs. So you never miss a goal, a save, or a talking point. For the fans who love to stay connected on the go, we have reels and updates on social media. This is more than just coverage. This is TV3 positioning the Ghana Premier League as premium sports product. So mark your calendars, gather your friends, and join us this weekend for another unforgettable round of Ghana Premier League football, only on TV3.
All right, I have messages about I have messages about Roland. Apparently, Roland Walker eats mushrooms.
Oh.
That's why he's so fresh. I don't know if mushrooms is a code for something. Is it code for something?
I'll
It's
have
not?
to check.
Okay, so he
But
eats mushrooms. That's
are
why he's so
nice, yes.
fresh, like Kalio man.
Hey.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it for this morning, and we're on till 10 a.m. today. You're watching TV3 Newday. We'll be right back.
I am a Everybody is watching me on YouTube, on every phone, everywhere I go. People say they know me. Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson.
Thank you for staying with us, not just today, for the last 28 years. It's been that long. You've been an amazing viewer. And like we said earlier on the show, I mean, from the days of Rosalinda, mentor, all through to now, you've always been with us. And it just keeps getting better and better. And we remain number one for the reason that you keep on watching us. Thank you for staying with TV3. It's time for the discussion segment like we do it every Wednesday. And let me introduce you to my guest in the studio, Dr. Joshua Zato. Is a political science lecturer and political analyst as well. Doc, thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you to you and your listeners. And congratulations on your 28 years. Yeah, I remember when we were in Legon and TV3 was starting, you know. Emma Morrison was the one reading the news. And those were good old days. Yes. Congratulations. Well and well deserved.
Also in the studio is Hamza Suini. Hamza Suini is a legal practitioner. I'm sure I've left a part of his name there somewhere. Hamza is a legal practitioner and a member of the National Democratic Congress. I left something out here?
No, not really.
Not really.
It should be fine.
It should be fine, yeah?
It should be fine. I'm good with the Hamza Suini. Good morning to you, and of course, good morning to my colleagues in the studio. We are trying to look better than our problems, like we've always done as young men.
I see. Also in the studio, yes, Solo is here. Solomon Owusu, Senior Communicator, Movement for Change, is with us in the studio. Good to see you once again.
Good to be here, Akable, and good morning to your cherished viewers. I'm very happy that TV3 is 28 years and one of your ardent viewers. He was there right from the beginning. If you go to Cape Coast, his name is Mr. Frank Hatful, a.k.a. Oguakoto. Oguakoto is an institution in Cape Coast, and it's one of the reasons TV3 continues to grow in the central region. Unfortunately, he's burying the mother this weekend. Mr. Oguakoto, I want to wish you the best of luck, and I want to assure you that on Saturday, I will be in Cape Coast to mourn with you from dawn to dusk.
Our condolences to him, and we thank him so much for staying with us always right here on TV3. Let's talk about the New Patriotic Party. It's a conversation we started off yesterday. I mean, it's an interesting rebuilding process that is ongoing currently. The very latest that came up yesterday is the fact that the submission of a petition to the National Disciplinary Committee on the conduct of Mr. Kwame Bafo, popularly known as Abronia DC, and this is a statement that was signed by the General Secretary, Justin Kodua, and the context within which all of this is playing out were two videos, one involving Chairman Wuntumi and Abronia, in which they had suggested a possible tampering with the register to favor a certain candidate. Afterwards, the party issued a statement distancing itself from the comments by the two individuals. Then there was a statement from the camp of Kennedy Japan, signed by spokesperson Kwesi Kwarteng, demanding that disciplinary actions should take place with regards to the two individuals. We've now seen one statement dealing with Abronia. I've not seen one in relation to Chairman Wuntumi. And the statement that deals with Abronia, it says here, the National Secretariat of the New Patriotic Party wishes to inform the public and all stakeholders that the General Secretary, Justin Kodua has formally submitted a petition to the National Disciplinary Committee regarding the conduct of Mr. Kwame Bafo, popularly known as Abronia DC. The petition outlines a series of actions that are deemed not only unbecoming of a member of the party, but also gravely detrimental to the image, unity, and integrity of the organization. We have to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more. Thank you for staying with us. And we're talking about that statement that had been issued by the New Patriotic Party referring Abronye DC to the disciplinary committee of the party. And the key concerns that are raised in the petition, he's alleged to have defamed a senior party member. He's reported to have publicly insulted Honorable Kennedy Japan, a distinguished member of the party, with derogatory statements, including a claim that even the elephant has more wisdom than Honorable Japan. Such remarks are unprintable, defamatory, and damaging to the reputation of Honorable Kennedy Japan and the NPP at large. Again, baseless allegation against the General Secretary. Mr. Balfour further alleged the General Secretary deliberately concealed a report that purportedly implicated Honorable Japan as the destroyer of the party and recommended his expulsion. These allegations are false, malicious, and injurious to the integrity of the office of the General Secretary. And 3, misrepresentation of committee findings. He is purported to disclose and misrepresent contents of a disciplinary committee report alleging that it catalogued various offences attributed to Honorable Japan. Such conduct constitutes a serious breach of confidentiality, discretion, decorum, and party discipline, while also undermining the authority of the committee. And so the reliefs that are being sought, 1, they want a full and impartial inquiry into the conduct of Abronye DCE. 2, apply the appropriate disciplinary sanctions in accordance with the party's constitution, as his conduct constitutes defamation, misconduct, and gross indiscipline. And I mean, for those of you who have been wondering how all of this fits into the general NPP rebuilding agenda, 2 days ago we heard from the General Secretary directly. He says the NPP is in a difficult place and that the party cannot pretend about it, and they would have to work to get it out of the current state the party finds itself in. And so that is what we are discussing this morning. And I want to start with Solo, because I mean the NPP is a party that Solo is very familiar with, and
the rep is also here. Okay. But no problem at all.
There, but I'll start
no
with you.
problem at all.
Because you are familiar with the party.
Yes.
You walked away from the party. The party has asked you to come back, and you said you are not going to go back. So that basically gives us a sense of how the party looks now. I mean, what do you make of how things are playing out? The rebuilding?
There is a singer there's a particular song they say Orekodo. The destruction continues with the party, and I think the pace that they are going, they will very soon dig or get to an oil levels. They will discover oil very soon with the rate at which they are moving. First of all, this whole petition and then utterances by Wontumi and Abronye has to be put in the right perspective. The statement made by Abronye that he has the capacity, he has the authority, he has the wherewithal to be able to put people into albums. The statement made by Wontumi that, yes, those that are in the album were put purposely there to favor a particular candidate here, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is practically the truth. If you have been involved in MPP politics and if you know whatever happens there, the regional chairman has a lot of influence. They control most of the constituency executives. And so it is very easy that instead of going to organize a polling station elections, put their cronies in the various polling stations so that when it is time for them to go and vote or elect a parliamentary candidate, these same delegates will go and vote for them. And when it's time for to a presidential flag bearership elections, the same delegates will go and vote for these aspirants, including themselves. Remember, they will also be going for or seeking re-election. So it's a factual statement, and I don't see why or how anybody, including Kodia himself, could challenge this very position. So they spoke the truth, except that the truth rather puts the party in a very bad shape. And that is why there seems to be back and forth with it. Again, remember when Wontumi and Abronye made these statements, the Canada-Japan side of the divide called for the two of them to be hauled before the disciplinary committee. Is that the case?
Yes.
This petition that Kodia has sent, is Wontumi included in it?
No.
It's only Abronye. And Abronye has been hauled to the disciplinary committee only because in subsequent videos, he made mention of Yasin Kodia. that he was sitting on a certain report that should be used to expel Kennedy Agyapong from the party. And in fact, that is the strategy of the party moving forward. Remember what Adenimo had said before withdrawing from the race, that this whole process was skewed and schemed in favor of a particular candidate. And that he, Adenimo, having known where he started his school from Navasco in the northern region, and how he struggled to do engineering and made money, would never go and invest 4.6 million Ghana cedis into this whole enterprise. Because he can't bid it. Are you with me? Then he left out. What is playing out? Is it not the same thing that Adenimo, the reason Adenimo left, that is being echoed by Abronye and Wontumi? That in fact they have schemed and skewed everything in favor of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. So when Abronye made mention of Justin Kodua, remember Justin Kodua will be seeking a re-election as a general secretary, and knows that if this matter is not handled very well, it will be used against him when he decides to contest. So let me quickly go to the National Council or refer the matter to the National Council or the disciplinary committee for an action to be taken. Nothing is going to come out. That's life, so that he can expose the Antichrist. Remember, we have been treated to sinners, 10 sins, 5 sins, 13 sins here and there. Now they have moved and not further. Abonye has moved that in and not further to bring in Antichrist. How can you refer or describe a party member, a fellow party member, who has the potential of leading your party, and you, Abonye, you are a member of the National Executive Committee as well as a member of the National Council, as an Antichrist? So in the event, in an unlikely event that Kennedy wins, how then you come back and convince the entire Ghanaian that Kennedy is not an Antichrist? You see how people talk by heart and then give advantage to our party. By the way, our party very soon will be at play. So it is nothing to write home about. The truth of the matter is that the current situation of the MPP is that it's a party that has only 87 members of parliament. It's a party that won elections in only 3 regions of this country. It's a party that lost heavily in Greater Accra, lost heavily in the Volta region, lost heavily in Western North, and most parts of this country. So if you're a party with this record, what the least you could do is to start the rebuilding from the scratch. That seems not to be the case. It is now all about me. And yesterday I was listening to the General Secretary. He said something, that individual interest has taken over the collective interest, that nobody now is thinking about their party called the New Patriotic Party. And that is what is worrying the party. So clearly, Abonye is able to do this because he knows that the establishment favors him, that he knows that nobody can say anything. But this petition is also a trap to Kennedy Agyapong. If he does not take care, they will use it to expel him. Because Abonye will then deviate from the very petition that concerns him and move into an arena that will just to bastardize Kennedy Agyapong. And after that, the party will stand on it and then, as it were, expel him from the party. You should not take it lightly. That is what can happen. And in all these, Abonye claims to be speaking for Mahmoud Bawumia. Abonye claims he's a vital or a pivotal member of the Bawumia campaign. Have you heard the former vice president make any statement to that effect? When Abonye took Duncan Williams, the Archbishop, the Papa, to the cleanest, did you hear the former flag bearer or the former vice president make a single statement? I mean, beyond this internal rhetoric, internal bickering, one of the challenges that will face Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's campaign, I know everything has been schemed for him to win, is how he would deal with the issue of the Papa, Duncan Williams. How he sat down, how he could not utter a single word in the open, how he could not even come to the aid or the defense of Archbishop Duncan Williams when one of his own took him to the cleanest. Okay. So that is what is at play now. Now, this thing, they tried it somewhere in 2007. They wanted to expel Alan using the same procedure. Can you imagine when Alan Chamante went to a vetting committee in 2007? First time I'm telling the world that Mr. Peter Alajete looked straight into Alan's face and asked him, Mr. Alan Chamante, are you a member of the MPP? At the vetting committee, can you imagine, Kabli? Because the system has been set up in such a way that they were going to expel him. When they see that the competition is becoming tough, they have to find other ways and means to get you out. So for me, this is a party that is struggling. They need something extraordinary to turn around things. But from where I sit, there seem to be no leaders or elders who are ready to put their foot down and say, enough is enough. Let's stop what we are doing. We are destroying the political party to beyond repairs. It will collapse eventually, but the way and manner they are moving fast, that is what some of us are concerned. That don't move faster than the anticipated timelines. We know you will collapse, but we have a timeline that you will do so. But do not bring it forward. Because when you collapse before our party's establishment, it becomes a problem.
Okay.
There has to be a party that will fill in that gap. Remember that when the CPP went down, there was a party that filled in their stead. So before you collapse, there has to be a party, a vibrant party that will take Hamza's party on, which is our party. Because we are going to give constructive, we are going to take them on in all aspects of their governance.
Okay.
What they promise the people of this country.
Okay. Let me come to Doc now. And Doc, I mean, there are those who are looking at what is playing out, and they will say that is the more reason why potentially would have been better if the party had organized from the ground, the very low level. Because now we are being told that we've heard from 2 officers saying that, well, the register, we can manipulate it a certain way. If we start at that level, it will mean that they are going to have new executives at all levels, all the way to the top. Then they have the main elections. But now, the manner they are going about it, some are saying that that is what is causing what is playing out currently. Did you share that point of view?
Once again, good morning to you. I think that today I want to do a little bit more of an intellectual analysis. And I want to do a little bit more of a historical analysis. I want us to go all the way back to 1998. It's important that when some of these issues come up, that we contextualize them and begin to understand that there are certain issues that are just natural with political parties. There are certain issues that just happen so long as you're a political party. And that we've seen that political parties in Ghana, especially the 2 dominant ones, have gone through this and they've made them stronger and better. That if there are people who don't understand this, unless we do this education, they will not comprehend this. I start with the NDC in 1998. Jerry John Rawlings was leaving the scene. The biggest problem was who to succeed Jerry John Rawlings. There were people in the NDC. The front runner, the person they were projecting was a gentleman called Augustus Guzitano to replace Jerry John Rawlings. Do you know what happened? Jerry John Rawlings did him
the Swedru declaration.
At Swedru, Jerry John Rawlings held the hand of Atta Mills to say that this is my son in whom I'm more favored. This guy should lead the NDC. It won't happen. Do you know what happened to the NDC? It split. Guzitano left and went and formed his own reform party. Took the people with him. Later on, the NDC went through the same thing again. What's the name? Obeda Samoa, Faustina Nelson, and others also left. Went and formed their own political party. Nana Konodo Ajima Rawlings, whose husband formed the NDC, left and formed the party. The NDC endured. This is the only political party so far in the Fourth Republic that's integrated and formed its own party. The NDC did that. But no, the NDC stood steadfast, stood to their core. They withered all the storm. And by 2008, they rode back to power. By 2008, that same Professor Mills. Adversity comes to all political parties. Political parties, I said, are very vulnerable when they are going through transitions. That is the history of the NDC. That's what happens. And today, that Guzitano is one of the biggest, most senior advisors to the sitting president of Ghana. Today, some of the people in those political parties are occupying very powerful positions in the NDC. That's what history has told us. Political parties go through a lot. And nobody rise up a political party just because they are going through turmoil. Do you understand that? 2, then we come to the NPP. A similar thing happened. But what became known as the Sunyani earthquake. That was where JF4 and Akufo-Addo met to select who leads the party. That was where Akufo-Addo gave one of the best speeches of political life. It was this woman from Cape Coast, I always forget her name, who introduced Akufo-Addo. That was the best speech she also gave. Akufo-Addo lost that election. But Akufo did something. He stood by the party. He stood committed to the party. And he campaigned with J. Kufuor, and MPP won the elections. He remained with the party, and he remained as the heir apparent. All the way until 2007. Something happened. The MPP went for a congress at the University of Ghana, Legon. Akufo-Addo and Alan Chamanten were the two leading candidates. Alan lost that election. You know what he did? He resigned. For the first time in the history of the MPP, a leading member of the party who lost a primary, delegates humbled you, he resigned. I want you to understand the chronology. He resigned. The MPP went ahead to lose that election and stayed in opposition for and lost back-to-back elections for almost 8 years. I want you to understand. Then something happened. In that period, the MPP went ahead to suspend their national chairman, went ahead to suspend their general secretary, went ahead to suspend another leading member of the party while they were in opposition. They went through all this turmoil. But again, the party came back roaring. In 2016, they won. In 2020, they won back-to-back elections. Then something happened again after that. The same Alan Chamanten came back to the party. And then something else happened. He went again to contest for presidency. Once again, delegates humbled him. Once again, delegates rejected him. And you know what he did again? For the second time, he quit the party. Honorable Alan Chamanten is the biggest disruptor, he's the biggest quitter, and he's the most indisciplined person in the history of the MPP. He's the one who has resigned twice and come back. And now he's resigned. So if you want to see the most indisciplined person in the MPP, in the history of the MPP, starting from history, he is the man who has shown that whenever delegates reject him, he will resign. He goes to delegates and says, if you don't vote for me, I'll resign, and he has done that. That's the history that has come. And now the MPP has lost elections. So if you look at our history, if you just do the analysis, political parties have gone through a lot in their formation, in their restructuring, but they always find a way to stay true to their core. It happened to the NDC, to their in power. It happened to the MPP, today they are in opposition. We've seen this. So there's nothing new, there's nothing strange about this. Today, again, we are seeing the moment the succession plans in the NDC is about to start, we've seen what is happening in the NDC. It's too early. A member of parliament of the NDC had cause to complain. What are you coming to thank us for? The China Pakakunz, what are you coming to tell us for? We have no appointments. We have no development. What are you coming to? What happened? He was summoned to the National Inquiry into the shut up. When Honorable, when Asiedu Nketia said he was going to take it, we saw Rasmo Barak issued a statement condemning that. My point is that you will see more of this, not less. You will see more of this. They are natural with the terrain. They happen whenever there is a succession. They happen whenever you're living. Because see, is the price, what drives them is the price at stake. You know that today, if you are the NDC flag bearer, you've got 50% of the votes, you leave only one to be president. You know that today, if you are the MPP flag bearer, you've got 50% of votes, you need one. The price makes that. And it's about power. People, alliances change. People feel, okay, you know what? If I'm with this person and the person win, I'll get this. If I'm with this person. So it's not the best to sit down and when you see a political party going through turmoil, that this one, to write them off. Because history has told us that. That in and of itself is not sufficient to ridiculous the party.
Yeah, but should the history not be the more reason why the party is careful about how it goes about the rebuilding process?
Exactly. And you've seen that there are changes. For instance, the MPP has realized that because of that history, let's have our primaries to elect our flag bearer early and do this. That was informed by the history. Again, the same history has told the NDC. That's what the NDC has officially written. Members Union has officially written or commented or complained. And they've told, and some have even warned Musa Dankwa to stop polling the early primaries. I've also said that nobody has declared to run. Why are you polling us? Both parties are learning from history. They are saying that, look, if you continue with this polling you are doing, Musa Dankwa, it's going to create a disruption from us. We are just 10 months into government. We have a lot to do. If you start this polling right now, it will disrupt our front. So that is a party being proactive and saying that Musa Dankwa, stop polling us. Don't poll us at all. He fired back today by saying, hey, I've been polling the MPP for so long, they've never told us directly to stop. We do that. It's the same thing that
That's a comment by a former government.
Agreed, I understand.
I mean, I don't think it's
I'm saying
fair
that
to necessarily
it is the same.
associate with
It
the
is the
NDC.
same thing that has allowed the NDC to summon a member of parliament saying, Master, stop, don't criticize the party, don't criticize us because we are yet to go there. My point is that, and you've seen, again, the General Secretary of the MPP has come on to give a very honest assessment. For me personally, I think he was being honest. To say that, look, because anything other than that, he would have been dishonest. Anything other than that would have been deceitful. Anything other than that would have been a lie.
to come out and say that the party is going through difficult situation. Because sometimes when you have a problem, acknowledging that you have a problem, understanding you have a problem, and working towards it is the best way to solve it. So he coming out to say that, yes, we are in the difficult times. Yes, we are challenges. But also, those challenges are surmountable. I think that's the best way. So, for people worrying, it tells you then that the head of the NPP or the heads of the NPP are not just being merely farcical. No, they understand they have a problem. They understand that the party is going through a difficult time. And they understand that the only way to do it is to keep going and keep working hard.
I mean, the rebuilding process, the national chairman for Ashanti region will be important to it. The Buno chairman will be important to it. The general secretary will also be important. Does that not lend credence to the fact that the best way to determine the wind of change would have been start from the lower level, let everyone see how the wind is blowing?
I don't understand when you start from which level. What is the lower level?
So polling station elections, executives.
No, you made something. There's something in the literature called resilience. Resilient organizations are organizations that are able to adapt. Not just adopt, but adapt to change. Adopt to change. And resilient organizations are organizations that are able to come up with creative solutions to what they have. The NPPs have seen the field. And I'm telling you, they've learned from history, they've learned from the NDC, and they've learned from their own history. And the National Executive of the Union has said that in their wisdom and backed by history, this is the best way to go.
Okay.
That is what I'm saying is resilience. To be resilient means you must be able to adapt and change. To be resilient means that you must find a way to make sure that you correct the problems you're doing. So maybe the old way, and I've heard people say top down and bottom down. Or the best is say the old way and the new way. The old way may be in the wisdom of the NPP will not serve them any good. And if it will not serve you good, why continue it?
Okay. All right. Let me come to Hamza now. And Hamza, you agree with his point that parties go through that cycle? I mean, at least, you may disagree with the interpretation he places on it, but the fact remains that the NDC, you've had similar challenges, and like he argues, the impact was even worse than what the NPP is going through now.
Akable, you see, permit me to say good morning to the leadership of the National Democratic Congress, and of course His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, and the entirety of the NDC government, and to thank them for the many blessings we continue to work on a daily basis to bring the way of the good people of this country, still knowing that so much is still expected of the government, and knowing His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama and the team that he has assembled, I'm quite positive that indeed we would continue to meet the desired objectives of the Ghanaian people. Today we are here. Thankfully, the doomsday that was predicted is nowhere to be found. Even after being handed over a challenged energy sector, we have managed, through the hard work of the Honorable John Jinapo and His Excellency President Mahama, and of course the Minister responsible for finance, we have managed to keep the lights on. These are successes one can take for granted. Again, just this morning, I heard you discussing about the increment to feeding allowances for our prisoners. Whichever way you see them, they are citizens of the Republic of Ghana, and it is our hope that we more or less take very good care of them in terms of their health needs, and food provision is one important aspect of doing that, especially when it comes to our prisons. And I hope that the government would also consider the possibility of trying to renovate many of these prison facilities to make it habitable for humans. LEAP has been increased, you know that already.
Okay.
Livelihood empowerment against poverty in excess of about 33% or so. School feeding program has also been improved or increased under this government, even in the midst of the difficult economic situations that we have inherited, and a host of others.
Okay.
And so it is important for that information to be out there and to assure the good people of this country that in the midst of our difficulties, we will try as much as possible as a government that is committed to a social contract with the people to see how we can meet many of their objectives. For me, it is painful that in the midst of all these successes, the NPP has decided to be destructive, largely because of their own internal political happenings. Instead of them to be concerned or concentrate on the bigger picture of national development, holding this government accountable. Interestingly, they have decided, as usual of them, to be very sectional in terms of their desires. But that does not prevent us also from running commentary on same. Because what affects the NPP in the long run, affects the Republic of Ghana. And so we must be interested in the activities of the New Patriotic Party. Council, you see, what is the center of the concern of the letter being written by the General Secretary? It borders on reckless political commentary and indiscipline, unsubstantiated allegations against political operatives. That is the crux of the petition. And we have had cause to discuss the likes of Abronye DC and Chairman Wontumi around this table. We have had cause to complain about their reckless political commentary. Indeed, even when this government was in opposition, the same Abronye DC held all kinds of unsubstantiated allegations born out of falsehood and wicked propaganda against His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama and his family. The same Abronye DC, not long ago, even upon assumption of office, unsubstantiated allegation was thrown again against His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama of having embezzled in excess of 550 million Ghana cedis, if you remember. That more or less excited the National Investigations Bureau to invite him, and the MPP raised concerns about his invitation. As if that was not enough. Not long ago with his court battles, another reckless commentary against a reputable state institution, the Ghana Police Service, and the Inspector General of Police. And is it just so? The question we should be asking ourselves is that this is Abronye DC. Is this a way of politicking within the NPP, or it is peculiar to that of Abronye DC? And I don't think that it is peculiar to the gentleman. The NPP can be hypocritical in all what it wants to say. Indeed, even Kennedy Ajapong is known in this country for his reckless and unsubstantiated allegations against political actors. I remember vividly, somewhere in 2011 or so, when His Excellency President Mills of blessed memory was president, his reckless commentary laced with trouble in ethnic tensions that led to his invitation to the CID head office. And the controversy it generated, NPP foot soldiers were massed up at that facility. Reckless political commentary. Again, Chairman Wontumi is known for going very personal against His Excellency President Mahama and Her Excellency Lordina Mahama in this country. So that has been the politics of the New Patriotic Party for some time now. And you ask yourself, where from that kind of politicking, that lawlessness, that reckless politicking, that indiscipline, it became this apparent when His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo became flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party with Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia as running mate. Remember, it was that indiscipline that characterized the sacking of their national chairman and general secretary. They were physically assaulted, not even a fly was disciplined by the New Patriotic Party for that action. So that was when they started setting that stage of indiscipline and recklessness. It is a culture they nurtured for years. It is that same culture that is beginning to eat the MPP up today. What were they expecting? They thought they were doing the NDC or the Republic of Ghana. They were doing themselves, and we made that point from day one. Today, Abronye DC and the likes have turned the guns on you people, and you are complaining. Where were you in the last 16 years when you were feeding that destructive way of politicking and that reckless form of politics? And so, Akable, that is the crux of the matter.
But you agree that various parties go through...
I will get there. Phases, I will get there. You know, I won't leave that place uncovered. Okay. I'll listen to him. And again, my brother was clearly disingenuous to proper intellectual analysis of the issue, because he started his presentation by saying that he's going to do intellectual and historical analysis. Yes, so I was hoping to learn from him on that tangent. But clearly, because of our political interests, he decided to do the expected, do spin around what actually should constitute intellectual and historical context. Nobody disagrees with him
that the NDC went through the phases that he recounted historically. But what I consider unfair to intellectual discourse is his failure to point out why the NDC survived those phases. Because the NDC, in the midst of these mounting challenges and threats to instability, held on to one important principle: discipline, no matter who was at the center. Do you think that it was easy for the National Democratic Congress to expel the likes of Bitzeden? Do you think that it was easy for the National Democratic Congress to expel the likes of Dr. Obeda Samwa and Francis Essien, committed members of the National Democratic Congress who served the party for years? We did not privilege personalities over and beyond that of our principles, especially when it comes to indiscipline. That is an NDC.
Okay.
But you of all, you cannot say same of the NPP. All the reckless commentary that Kennedy Agyapong made, when was he ever made to face a disciplinary committee with sanctions meted out to him? Abronya DC himself, when was he made to face disciplinary committee with sanctions meted out to him?
Okay.
Akable. So these are the facts, and that is why I expected him to be fair to that intellectual analysis. And again, you see, sometimes he made references to the China MP. Look, the NDC is a beautiful democratic tradition, and I love that party. It did not start today. Even my own big brother, the Honorable Alaus Ansuwin, Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways, at a point in time in opposition, the NDC National Executive Committee had cause to invite him and some of his colleagues on their stance. And I think that had to do with the removal of the then minority leader and now minister responsible for education. They were invited to face FEC, just like the China Para MP.
Okay.
So this trend of invitation tells you that we hold disciplines we do not joke with discipline as a political party, and that makes us different from the MPP.
Okay.
So what the China Power MP has done, we have laid down processes. For all you know, there are many who would agree with the concerns that he raised. But as a party leader, there are laid down procedures that we expected him. So we are not discounting his concerns, especially when it comes to the people within his catchment area, his constituency. We are not. But sometimes there's a need for people to know that there's a channel of communication that people must take advantage of. And so when we do so, it is not meant to stifle his right to freedom of expression. It is to remind him that he's a member of the body corporate called the National Democratic Congress. And so finally, Akable, if there is any body or group of persons who ought to be made to face any disciplinary committee, it is not just Abronya, it is the New Patriotic Party in its entirety.
Okay.
That needs actually to face a disciplinary committee.
Okay.
Because the party has become a den of indiscipline and reckless political commentary.
Okay.
And so it will not be fair to the likes of Abronya DC if you subject them to a so-called disciplinary committee without subjecting the entirety of that institution to disciplinary processes.
Okay. Let me come to Solo. And I realized when he was speaking, you made a lot of notes.
One thing that I realized with Zato is that he barely knows the MPP's history. And I think he will take his time and be properly educated on it. It's very important. I see him as a brother. But he should not be taking history lessons from the lives of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, he himself doesn't know the history of the MPP.
I mean, is there anything he recounted specifically that...
I'm coming there. First of all, he claims that Alan resigned in the year 2000. He lost and resigned. Akable, do you believe in that statement? But you should have corrected him right there. If for nothing at all, YouTube is there. He should have refreshed his memory before coming to the studios. That in 2007, there was no clear winner in Legon. Get it straight. The election was supposed to go for a second round. And in the second round, it is anybody's game. In fact, election 2008, vindicates the position that if Alan had contested in the second round, he would have beaten Akufo-Addo because Akufo-Addo doesn't have stamina. Remember, in 2008, Akufo-Addo was leading Professor Mills by 100,000 votes in the first round. And by 100,000 votes, you are talking about Accra Sports Stadium filled to capacity, Kumasi Sports Stadium filled to capacity, plus the Aliu Mahama Sports Stadium filled to capacity. That was the extent of the margin between Akufo-Addo and Professor Mills. Yet, Professor Mills turned it around, and then so Alan could have beaten Akufo-Addo in the second round. But what did Alan do? He processed it. He looked at what was happening to the party. Alan Zato is comfortably sitting here saying that he's the most indisciplined person. He realized that the party could collapse if they went for a runoff. So he said, look, in order to save the unity of this party, in order not to push this party to expend these scarce resources, I, Alan Chemante, am allowing my elder brother, Nana Akufo-Addo, to go so that all of us will support him. This was the words of Mr. Alan Chemante. And if you consider such a personality who could sacrifice his political life for a personality like Akufo-Addo and call him an indisciplined this morning, then I can assure you that this MPP will collapse before the end of November.
I'll let you continue.
Then again, we need to clear. We need to clear. He has brought a lot of inaccuracies.
Yes, on the point of the resignation.
Yes. Alan never resigned.
I'm coming. Your disagreement stems from the fact that. Do you agree with the fact that there was an attempt to resign? You agree with that?
No, but there's an attempt to resign.
No, I just want us to put it in that context.
Let's get Did Alan resign? Do you believe in that Alan resigned?
We've heard from party officials.
No, which official did you hear from?
I'm coming.
Yes.
There are party officials who have spoken around the commission.
Who are those? Who are those? I want to mention that and tell you their background. Remember, whoever is speaking, check his background, whether or not he's an antagonist towards Alan.
Okay.
There are a lot of people skewing and then fabricating all sorts of stories. Alan had given in, had conceded to Nana Akufo-Addo. He had allowed him to go. After that, his men were being humiliated, were being chased out of the party. Then Alan writes an official letter to the party that, look, if it is because of me that my men will be disciplined like this, then I'm prepared to sacrifice myself so that they have their peace. Conditional statement. Then Nana Akufo-Addo and his cabal quickly went to the Daily Graphic and got them to publish. Daily Graphic published that Alan quits MPP. Now, if he was mindful and he was abreast with the MPP's constitution, in MPP's constitution, before you can contest the presidential elections, you have to be 5 years and above. Is that not the case? Now, let's do this mathematics. If indeed his argument is anything to write home about, if Alan resigned in 2007, which is not true anyway, and you rejoin the party again, it means you are starting afresh. It means Alan couldn't have contested the presidential primaries in 2010. Did Alan contest or not? So on what basis is he making this argument? Okay. It's a flawed argument. Okay. It's one of the propaganda.
You have some other points you wanted to get.
Now, he comes back. So we have cleared that Alan didn't resign. It is a fabrication that you continue to. Now he comes back to say that in 2023, when Alan was beaten squarely again, he resigned. Did Alan lose any election in 2023? Once again, that is why he needs education on the MPP matters. In MPP, the constitution says that when the aspirants are more than 5, we go into what we call a superdelegates election. Is that not the case? In superdelegates election, for your information, you are not looking at who plays first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. We are looking at the first 5. So whoever comes in the first 5 is a winner. The question is, was Alan amongst the first 5? Akable, help me. He was. Is that the case? So where from this he was beaten?
I mean, again.
Correct him.
No,
correct
you know,
him.
sometimes.
It's not sometimes. We are doing. He told us that we were doing an intellectual discourse this morning, and we all going to tell.
I'm saying that sometimes the facts don't necessarily differ. It's the interpretation we place on them, and I'm saying that
Which
because
one is the fact?
I'm saying that because he would argue that what he meant by beating.
But you cannot put words in his mouth. Why is the person sitting there? You want to explain?
That's fine. No, he'll do that. No, he'll do that.
Hey, you've been able to go into his memory
I've not gone into his
to
memory.
determine what he meant.
Take your time.
I cannot sit here for this thing to happen.
Take your time.
First of all,
I want to ask you a question.
Ask me.
Yes, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
The point he makes about the fact that his conduct, and he compares it to other individuals within the party, in which no matter what is playing out, they stay within the fold of the party. Let me ask you a direct question. Do you generally believe that when individuals are within parties and there are challenges, walking away is the best option.
But first of all,
generally,
Alan, Alan, we are dealing with Alan. Don't don't let us go any semantics. He went after Alan. Let's deal with Alan.
We've cleared that up.
First of all, the MPP was formed on the 28th of July, 1992. Alan had been with this party from 1992 to 2023. You understand? Would you call such a person not a lawyer person? Someone who was the chairman of the Young Executive Forum, a group that bankrolled this party, would you call him someone who was not loyal to the party? If someone is in the party, look, even in the 2007 that he's talking about, do you know that Alan was the lead campaigner in the runoff in Ashanti region, including Central region? So how would you then describe such a person? In 2014, when Akufo-Addo had no people surrounding him and working for him, Akufo-Addo himself went to Kosimintim and told the entire world that my campaign, and the videos are available, my entire campaign, the only single person that had campaigned more than anybody was Alan Kyerematen. Then you got a nerve to come and sit here and tell me that, look, Alan is indisciplined. That is not going to be tolerated. Okay. Alan is more disciplined than your candidate, Baumia. In any case, if resignation was anything to go by, you Zato yourself, when you were beaten in Sisala East, you told them that you had resigned from the party. Didn't you tell them that? Verbally. He's sitting here. He should tell me that I'm wrong.
Okay.
To the extent that saying that you stop voting there and voting in Nantom. Are you not voting in Nantom?
Okay.
What made you to move from Sisala East to be voting in Nantom? Okay. So you see, when you are discussing, no wonder they miss Alan in their camp. But I told you now, they are not going to get him. There is no way Alan Kyerematen returned back to the force. We are going to build a vibrant the rest of our lives on earth. If we could use our dedicated lives, our youthful lives, our resources to build the MPP to become attractive for these people to come and destroy it, I can tell you, the best thing I can leave, the legacy I can leave for my children, is to help build a brand new party that is truthful, that is disciplined, that believes in the ideals and principles of our founding fathers of this country, and not to be asked to do anything like that. By the way, you want to cut me?
No, I'm not cutting you.
You made them to speak for 35 minutes. I was sitting here.
Don't do that.
I didn't come here to be a spectator.
No.
So go on.
Everyone is being timed. You have to calm down. You can look at the timestamps here. So calm down.
You don't have to worry at all. You have submitted that.
Yes.
Alan is a no-go area.
I know very well.
Alan is like a shrine.
So you also, Doc, sorry, you took some notes on some matters you also wanted to respond to. You can do that now.
The first point I want to make is that Honorable Alan Kyerematen is the most disloyal person in the history of the MPP, and he has demonstrated that by his continuous resignation and destruction of the party. I put that on record, and I'm going to state that every time. You mentioned a place called Nantom. I don't know Nantom. I don't know where it's called Nantom. I've never seen Nantom. Anyway, but that's irrelevant. Let's go back to the issues here. It's history. And I just want to quickly say something. So my brother that has said my intellectual analysis, first, I guess the timelines are correct. So in intellectual, the timelines are correct. What he says I didn't do is say the why. But I explained that. I said the NDC stood true to their principles. They never wavered. And even when all these people were leaving, they stayed close. That is why they came back to win back-to-back victories. I said that. So I made both points. So if you were listening, you realize I did. I said, despite the fact that all these people were leaving, they stayed true to their principles, and that's why they were able to come back and win back-to-back. Even when Professor Mills died, may he so rest in peace, his sister John Dramani came back and won. So I did factor that in. So probably if you listen, you would have seen that I did say that. Did Alan Kyerematen resign from the party twice? Yes. My historical record is the Daily Graphic, and my historical record is what happened in 2023. The Daily Graphic.
No, but I can't. You must be asking the questions.
The Daily Graphic. The Daily Graphic is a record of history.
Yes.
It's one of the biggest and the best historical records of this country. Yes. So if you quote and cite from such a source, you are not being mischievous. You are being factual. You are being truthful, and I'm quoting from there.
But Doc, you agree that there are times that publications are not accurate.
So far,
especially because and earlier on I was drawing his attention that we've heard from executives, former executives of the party, who have explained that a letter was written complaining about violent activities and the possibility that if they do not address that against his supporters, he could leave the party.
Has the Daily Graphic withdrawn that story?
No, I mean, to the extent that
Has
that's
the
what I'm saying, that
Okay,
there's the possibility that there are inaccuracies in historical narratives that are published and they are never retracted and they remain there.
Solomon, this morning you go explain tire. And I'm seeing, you see, you are disrupting me. You saw how I kept quiet and I left you. I won't. The last time we went away, didn't want to
with that, yes.
So again, I want to go back to the thesis of my presentation. Political parties go through these difficulties in their history. They do that often and always. And sometimes it happens when there's a change of leadership. Political parties are most vulnerable when they change leadership. And my argument is that it has happened to the two dominant parties in this country over and over. And so when it is happening to one, the other party, if I were them, will also we could start saying that, let's, as the saying goes, when your neighbor's beard is on fire, to put fire by your beard. We've seen that. We've seen that happening right now with a member of parliament, someone to punish. Look, my brother said something like, yes, the NDC expelled Bidzeden, yes, they did. But again, I did address that. The NPP expelled their national chairman. Bidzeden was not the national chairman of the NPP. Obedasama was not the national chairman of the NPP. The NPP has also used the power of expulsion as a disciplinary tool before. So I'm talking about Apple and Apple here. They expelled their national chairman, expelled their general secretary, expelled the first national vice chairman. So both parties, therefore, have used that power of expulsion as a disciplinary tool. It has happened. And again, as you've seen, after that, they are all come back. So for me, whenever you are dealing with an organization, an institution that has millions of people, and especially in politics, remember, politics thrives on conflict. Conflict of ideas, conflict of ideologies, conflict of positions. And precisely because politics thrives on conflicts, you are going to find that politics also thrives on interest, rational self-interest, personal interest, selfish interest. If you put all this together, it's combustible. So it is normal, it is fair for you to see this flare up whenever you are doing a primary, because it is at the primaries that people get the chance to express this issue. So for me, I will say, whenever you see a political party going through this, in fact, political parties that do not go through this turmoil are those that end up dying. Look at the political parties. The PNC doesn't go through this turmoil. That's why they're useless. CPP doesn't go through the they're useless. When you see a political party that doesn't go through any internal turmoil at all, they wither away. Because conflict nourishes new ideas. New ideas nourishes new possibilities. New possibilities help political parties survive. So watch this space and you see the biggest political parties, when they go through this, they always come out at the end stronger. And I believe that it is going to happen to all the political parties. They're going to do this. Right now, the NPP is in the eye of the storm, I know. Very soon, after January 30th, this will be the eye of the storm, and we'll all be here to do the analysis.
Okay. Final word to Hamza.
I think that my problem with Dr. Zato's... Sulu. I think my problem with Dr. Zato's submissions are that, first of all, he sought to give a very tangential response to the question of why Abronya DC has been invited before the disciplinary committee. Very tangential, needless detour into historical and intellectual narratives. When the crux of the matter has to do with gross indiscipline, reckless political commentary that has become a concern for many well-meaning Ghanaians. That's the basis of the invitation. And that's why I sought to give you that contextual analysis. So get that straight. Two, yes, the NDC used disciplinary measures in the past in sanctioning its general secretaries and the likes of course, one person I mostly don't feel comfortable using as an example, because the likes of Koko Anyidoho, I always try as much as possible to refrain from running commentary on him because of my personal biases. I remember under President Mills, when I was going through difficult challenges, he was one of the people who gave me a listening ear, gave me so much time. And so regardless of how painful his politics can be now, I have made it a point not to run any commentary. Yes, any commentary on that. I'm not even sure he remembers that, but as a matter of principle, I've just decided not to.
That's a good principle. Thank you for that. Thank
you see, Akable, I made references to our use of disciplinary measures to project party principles, not personal principles. If we were to use disciplinary measures to project party principles, the likes of His Excellency, the late President Jerry John Rawlings, wouldn't have a problem
wouldn't have had a problem with the functions or activities of the National Democratic Congress. So you remember that at a point we had loggerheads with him because he would have been using our internal disciplinary measures to project his interest and standing in the party. We didn't do that. What you made references to, the sacking of your own brother, the likes of Paul Afoko, which you are surprisingly defending here, and also calling on your own brothers again to vote for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, that contradiction. You see, what they did to him had nothing to do with the ideals of the New Patriotic Party. It had more to do with the personal dislike for him of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his clique. So it was a personal vendetta carried out to further the influence of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia within the politics of the New Patriotic Party. Indeed, that was what led to the cold murder of your Upper East Regional Chairman, for which the younger brother of Paul Afoko had to endure unjust treatments in the hands of Nana Addo, eventually as president of the Republic of Ghana. So you know these facts. The reason why Alan resigned the first time was simply because of that unhealthy commitment to use your party structures to further the objectives of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So these are different, and we must accept it. And if you look at... No, you can correct me.
I'm saying you should correct it.
No, the first resignation. I made reference to the first resignation. I will concede.
No,
I'll concede. You don't need to correct. Let me land. You don't need to.
But you have to be correcting this.
No, so but you are corrected. I will go with your word.
Yes. You see, the thing you guys do, the problem is that no one wants anyone to come in when anyone is coming. So just come. So go ahead. Wrap up.
So, you see, these are the facts we are dealing with. And for me, my brother should not run away from the fundamental issue before us this morning. Reckless political commentary. And you see, when I say the MPP emboldened it, so I'm surprised that they are now complaining. Is it not Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, after the young guys on social media and a lady who used all kinds of vile on His Excellency President Mahama, was it not Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia who welcomed them in open arms and celebrated their triumph in quotes? What did he think that he was doing? He was blessing that form of political reckless commentary and indiscipline. And that is the reason why I made the point that, look, it is the entirety of the New Patriotic Party that must face disciplinary measures, not just Abronia DCE. And so until they remain true or they go back to their foundational principles and uphold same, they should be rest assured that the movement for change will eventually become the second force within the politics of the New Patriotic of the Republic of Ghana. And for many of us, that is our desire. Because if for nothing at all, I feel strongly that the New Patriotic Party has outlived its usefulness as far as our democracy is concerned. And it is now becoming an agent of destruction, not just to the Republic of Ghana, but to even known institutions within the entity called Ghana. And we need to check them.
So
and you must not miss this word. You, as especially a political analyst, you know this better, Dr. Zato.
Okay, so let's do some messages and we wrap up this segment. Musa Batwa and Asawas, you say that the NPP's internal fighting is escalating, fueled by a lack of leadership to crack the whip. However, I agree with Abronia calling for the live telecast of the disciplinary hearing. President Mahama needs peace of mind to continue working to better the living conditions of Ghanaians. This one from Nanaya, you say that I do not think Dr. Zato wants to suggest that a daily graphic publication is more accurate than the report of the then General Secretary of the NPP, who per the party's constitution is the CEO and head of all administrative matters, Nana Ohininto, who has constantly and repeatedly stated that Alan never resigned. And Ebo here, you said that I have said it before and I repeat, the NPP has become a headless and lawless party. At present, no one seems to care about the welfare of the party. Tim Bawumia is following the same playbook Nana Addo used to turn the party into his personal property. Their ultimate goal is to push Kennedy Japan out as he remains the only stumbling block to their agenda. From the way things are going, I can tell you the party can't be recognized after their January 31st primary. Okay, someone is quoting Hamza here, saying that the NPP has outlived its usefulness. You've just repeated the same comment. You should, if you are quoting him, you have to add the name there. And so those are some of the comments that have come by way of contribution to this discussion. That's all time would allow us. If I try to extend the time, we all know what would happen here. So if you want to look smart and fashionable, visit any Woodin boutique nationwide today. Woodin offers an amazing collection of authentic African fabrics and ready-to-wear that come in beautiful designs and colors for men and women. With Woodin, you can get creative and versatile with your designs. Be confident and show off how truly African you are in Woodin. Go to a Woodin boutique near you today and choose from a variety of trendy products to complement your unique style. Follow Woodin Fashion on Facebook, Instagram at Woodin Fashion, and on TikTok at Woodin_fashion. I mean, I'm happy you all want an extension because you've enjoyed the discussion this morning. I saw Solo looking at me when I was doing the ad. But that's Solomon, also Senior Communicator Movement for Change. We're also joined in the studio by Hamza Suhini, a legal practitioner, a member of the NDC Communications team as well.
Proud member of the National Democratic Congress.
Okay. And Dr. Joshua Zato, a political science.
I don't know. You say where to find out
political analyst. We are taking a break. When we come back, we have sports. We'll continue with the conversation about Nanto and all the other issues of stay tuned.